Today it is time to revisit one of Nissan's past motorsport glories, the R32 Skyline GT-R. While many car lovers know of the R32 GT-R's greatness, not everyone knows its racing history. In the mid-1980s, during the heart of Japan's bubble era, large corporations were flush with cash, real and otherwise, thanks to rising stocks and real estate prices. It was a time where Japanese automakers were more experimental than they had ever been, and Nissan was no exception. During the mid-1980s, Nissan was struggling, and the R32's predecessor, the lackluster R31 Skyline, didn't help matters. Nissan's executives decided to reverse the company's fortunes with the R32, a racing GT-R model planned from the outset. While the R31 Skyline was somewhat akin to a Japanese BMW 3 Series, with its RWD chassis and engine choices topping out with a 210 horsepower straight-six, the R32 Skyline GT-R was more like a spaceship. With homologation in the FIA's Group A class always in mind, Nissan's engineers developed a 2.6-liter twin-turbo straight-six engine, the legendary RB26 DETT. If Nissan had gone for a 2.8-liter motor, it would force the car into a class with a weight minimum of 2,954 pounds. The 2.6-liter allowed it to enter the car in a class with a minimum weight of 2,778 pounds. The street version of this engine made about 320 horsepower stock, though it produced more than 600 horsepower in race trim. To cope with the prodigious power, Nissan engineers fit the R32 GT-R with an advanced all-wheel drive system called a Tessa ETS. To put it into perspective, this is the first and so far the only rear transaxle-based all-wheel drive system for a front-engine car. During a standing start, the system sends only 2% of the available torque to the front wheels and 98% to the rear, essentially making a GT-R a rear-wheel drive car. Thanks to the amount of sensors, clutches and UFO technology Nissan has invested in it, front and rear torque split can change in milliseconds to a maximum of 50-50. 1 year after the road-going Skyline GT-R's introduction in 1989, Nissan released the lighter-weight Nismo GT-R in 1990, building 560 examples to homologate the GT-R for Group A racing. The Nismo road car allowed Nissan to homologate specific go-fast parts just for racing. Quickly, the GT-R emerged as a dominant force in Group A racing. According to Evo, GT-Rs won all 29 races of the Japanese Touring Car Championship entered, took victory at the 1991 Spa 24-hour race and decimated the competition in Australian racing. The GT-R's victories in Australia, 3 Group A championships between 1990 to 1992 and first place at the Bathurst 1000 in 1991 and 1992, led the local press to dub the GT-R Godzilla, an appropriate nickname if there ever was one. Watching videos of Group A GT-Rs in period, it's easy to see how Godzilla earned its reputation. The way it puts power down on corner exit is unlike anything else of the period. The GT-R's success was so great in Australia, the Australian Touring Car Championships governing body reportedly forced the series into a two-make championship, consisting of GM, Holden and Ford, a predecessor for today's V8 supercars series. This ended the GT-R's Australian reign, as turbocharging and all-wheel drive was no longer allowed in the series. It's the R32 GT-R's incredible motorsport success and subsequent inclusion in the Gran Turismo franchise that made Godzilla an automotive icon. It might not have saved Nissan going in the 1990s, but it did give birth to its most beloved icon.